Hello, so in this video we will revisit the Abzan Blank. The deck I made already 3-4 videos before, and I decided this time to try to freshen it up a bit. Okay, so Streets of New Capenna was out, and I didn't play a deck after after that, and this is the first time. So I was just looking at the meta game, trying to see what changes should I make, and it came to my mind that I could play a Devoted Druid combo as an option against some matchups that are like that don't have a lot of interaction. And I could use it as a win condition, as I already play 4 Eldrami's Call main and Stoneforge Mystic. It was easy to just fill in the slots for Devoted Druid, but Devoted Druid also feels okay in a deck by itself because the deck always struggles on 3-4 mana, trying to get to 5. So Devoted Druid kind of helps with that, and it's a decent or sometimes very good turn to play. And also people prioritize in killing druids, so you might sometimes uh, play it to clear the way for Stoneforge, but also if you succeed to Grief turn 1, Grief Ephemerate, and have your Druid combo in hand, it will be much easier to do it. So, but definitely hard to have it all, but sometimes it happens. And, and in some cases, you can just use it, for instance, Devoted Druid and Luxior, if you have it on the field from beginning, you can later use it to cast Kaldra from your hand, gain a lot of mana, bring Yorion to hand. Then if you have 2 white mana, you can even cast Yorion. So it leads to some good plays if you assemble the combo. But it's it's not a deck that is really devoted to comboing with Druid, it's hard to combo off against decks that have a lot of interaction, uh, but you don't even want that very much in that matchups anyway. So we will just watch through one league I played. I played 4 or 5 leagues with this deck, and all leagues were 3-2 except the last one. Last one was 4-1, so overall a very good result for the deck. Not single 2-3 league or 1-4 or worse. So all leagues were 3-2 and 1-4-1, so which is in 5 leagues a very good overall result. Um, some of you who watched the previous videos know that instead of Druid I used to play Tarmogoyf, which is definitely good in this deck, and instead of Vizier, Duskwatch and Walking Ballista I played Lilian of the Veil and one more removal. Okay, so for you who know the deck, Sideboard is pretty much the same as it was before. There's some land hate, some artifact enchantment hate, some graveyard hate, some cascade hate, one Auric champion, one sanctifier, and that's it. And of course Yorion. So this deck has few good starting hands. The best one is Grief Ephemerate. Uh, decent one against a lot of matchups is Solitude Ephemerate. There are also like good stuff Abzan hands with Stoneforge, Mystic Few Removal, and lands, maybe one Ephemerate, stuff like that, or a Drum is cool. Those hands are definitely also very good. But also you can now have a good Devoted Druid hand with a combo in starting hand and stuff like that. So that is now also an option. I'm not sure which version of the deck is better because, as I said, I had a pretty decent result with this deck, and but I can't say which version is better, the one with the Thermoglyphs or the one with Devoted Druids. You can maybe go even more hard on a Devoted Druid combo here. Um, but I like it to be sporadic, like in this situation. We could maybe play, if you want to go harder on a combo, like maybe play some more tutors, uh, maybe add some one-drops, play a Ranger, Captain of Eos, stuff like that, but it would completely change the deck, and I really like it like this. Maybe the Glyph version is slightly better because glyphs sometimes can be very good, but this one is very uh, very fun to play and decent. So in this league, I'm going to show you I all decks I played against were like had a terrible lot of interaction. It was all Grixis, Murktide stuff and stuff like that. So I didn't combo with Druid once this league, but I played it before and I did win like 4 or 5 games with Devoted Druid combo, and it's possible. But as I said, Devoted Druid is decent in the deck by itself, and it allows you to hard cast Grief turn 3, uh, be able to play Yorion much faster, uh, and stuff like that. It's a decent card in a deck, and the Lion Sash and Blade of Phony I played before are not that relevant. I mostly use it if I already have Caldera, so to find it with find Blade of Phony with Stoneforge to have black cards to pitch the Grief and stuff like that. Um, so Luxior is decent in deck. If you have it, sometimes with Devoted Druid, it can really do a lot. But as I said, this league I played were all uh, decks with a really large amount of interaction, and it wasn't possible to plan the combo kill. Okay, so let's just go through the league. Okay, game 1, playing second, mulligan to 6. Just hand with nothing special, but just one abundant growth and ephemerate. Played against Grixis. Okay, so really nothing in hand, just ephemerate and shrine. So really bad start for me. But I was able to draw my Stoneforge and had ephemerate in hand to protect it, and that's kind of enough to win this game. My opponent is already on 10, so one Caldera enough for win. It's just two attacks. They can't do anything about it, so uh, that's it for my opponent game 1. Really simple win. Just play a Stoneforge, hold Ephemerate. They know I have Ephemerate because they touches me. So my opponent did one last attack with Dragaman, didn't find anything and conceded. Okay, so game 2. Game 2 playing second. Again mulliganing. Keeping mediocre hand with just some good stuff cards. But Sanctifier draw is pretty good here. It gets this kind of hands can get really good quickly, so you got to keep hands like this one. As I succeeded to play my Sanctifier, my opponent already cast their second iteration. Luckily, they weren't able to attack with Dragon. I didn't have my third land, so I just started playing my 2 drops, just waiting to die. My opponent drew into Turak, which is very good. Discarded both Stoneforge. Um, Turak is kind of definitely hard for me to deal with. I play Abrupt Decay, and I play 2 Fatal Push, and I have Grist, but that's about it. Yeah, my opponent just continued to attack with Turak, and I didn't have a solution for Turak, and that's it. That was it for this game. Okay, so we can watch game 3. Okay, so keeping a hand with Stoneforge. This kind of hands usually can be very good against these decks. I didn't play Stoneforge turn 2. I want to play it turn 3 as the game before because they only have Johnny Lock to counter it. So I wanted to have Ephemerate open, but they did have Dress Down, so I decided not to go for it because it would probably die. I wanted to hold both of my Ephemerates. They went for it, and they had to use two removals to kill it. So it's very good for me. They just played Ledger, played Shadow, which was ideal because the Shadow was 1/1, so I could just cast a Solitude, kill both of the creatures. Didn't even need to ephemerate it. Okay, so my hand was pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Again, dress down, but dress down goes off and step. So I decided to just do ephemerate and step before they can kill it. I took Fatal Push here. left explosives which don't do much. Okay, so they conceded. That was it. That was match 2. We'll watch the match 1 last. It was the loss. Also against Grixis Shadow. This time we beat the Shadow. Actually, game 1 I was also close to beating Shadow, but they actually beat me with my own Walking Ballista. Yeah. I decided just to put my Orion in hand here. I was hoping them to go double creature so I can go Solitude, kill them both, but they didn't, which is also fine. I decided just to play my single removal here, kill the Shredder, and hold my Solitude, Ephemerate, touch the Spirit Realm until they play 2 creatures or more. I just played my Vizier of Remedies. I was very far from comboing this game, and there are very low chances of doing it against this kind of decks, so I just played it in hope they will cast removal on it, and they did. So I just removed the channeler and played the land tapped. Okay, so no point in exiling all my cards here. So I just played Solitude on their upkeep. And repeat the action again, and they had again counterspell, but I had the Yorion in hand. Which I would be very happy to resolve, of course. But I decided to just play my Skyclay. It seemed as a better option here. Yes, I decided to go Aljamis for Witness. It's best play in this situation, just uh, having Ephemerate in hand, just grabbing another Solitude from Graveyard seemed the best to me. Um, just attack for 4 again. I play my Yorion. I try to bounce some stuff. I decided to go for Ephemerate. Maybe I shouldn't, but they played all their cards and they were left with 0 cards in hand, and I had 3 and the creature on the field, which put me in a pretty good situation. Also having Luxior, Devoted Druid. In case I... okay, I didn't have Witness, so no hope for Druid Ballista combo, but I had the other creature in deck that combos with Druid Infinite Mana. I can't remember the name, but it can, for 3 mana, dig for creature. Yeah, I cast my Agdeem's Waking on Druid and Witness, and they conceded this game. Okay, so match 2. Match 2 again, mulliganing. This one, Task Watch Recruiter. I had that one in deck, and I can, with the infinite mana, I can grab just infinite creatures from my deck into my hand. Okay, so this hand was kind of pretty weak, but I kept it. Didn't want to go to 5. Just cast the Recruiter as a blocker turn 2. They didn't have a removal for it, which is surprising. So I blocked it, and they played another one, and but also Murktide. And at this point, I didn't have a solution for Murktide. It was just a 5/5, but no Solitude. And they also played Unlicensed Hearst, which made my Rebirth and Witness useless. And I couldn't do anything at this point. I didn't even find anything to kill Murktide, so that was it. Okay, game 3. Game 3, keeping okay hand, having Solitude, Undying Evil, plus removal for Ragavan, plus Drami's Core, Grist. These are all very good cards. I did find the third land for Grist, which is very great if they try to. If they don't kill Grist, and they didn't, I'm in a very good situation. So they did play a Channeler Iteration uh, and Fury to kill my Grist, but I already had a Sanctifier on table, 2 insect tokens, and the Solitude in hand. So I just killed both of their creatures. I was holding this waiting for this from the beginning of the game, and it was an impossible situation for them at this point. I also had holded another Endurance in hand, so I decided to cast it in my main phase immediately and just attack for 4 more damage. Holding Decay here for anything. They have decided not to attack with Sanctifier in case they boarded in Subtlety, something like that, but they were just holding Utawara. They played Blood Moon. I could have killed the Channeler just and killed them, but I decided to go for it's safer to go for Blood Moon. So I just played my Grief, discard their last card, and that was it. That was the win. Uh, Match 3. So this game I played first, again mulliganed, so I had a decent amount of mulligans this league. But I had a very good score against these Grixis and Murktide matchups overall. Um, I did lose to one Grixis this league, but I often beat that deck. Yeah. Okay, so this was a kind of weird situation for me. I had Solitude in hand, I had Grist on field, and my opponent played a Dolan. I put Yuri into hand, and at this point didn't have anything else, and so I decided not to ditch Solitude this turn, which was a mistake. I could maybe uh, win this game if I didn't do that, but I decided not to do it and just take the damage. They had the Boros Charm. If I killed Eidolon here, I would draw another Solitude and I would be in also bad situation, but a bit better. Okay, so that was it. I lost game 1 against Burn. Again mulliganed first hand. Didn't have second black card for Grief. So I decided just to play Druid, try to hardcast Grief or just a Knight of Autumn next turn. And I did find land Fire Knight, so I gained 4 life, which is pretty good. Having good cards in hand, Undying Evil for Knight, Grief, just playing my Stoneforge, finding Kaja, so I can start to attack them. Knight plus Undying Evil, holding to block Eidolon. And they decided to cast second Eidolon, which is great in situation where I can put Kaldra on the field without losing life and attack them for 5, which means their Eidolon starts working against them. They decided to attack with both Eidolon here, so I just decided to play my Undying Evil, force them to use the removal on Knight and also lose 4 life, which makes my Kaldra complete attack that they can't really cast anything else, and that's a game over for them. Okay, so game 3 definitely harder. I depend a lot on my Knight of Autumn here, and if I can fight it. I had Grief Touch the Spirit turn 2 play here, so I decided to keep it. My opponent played very aggressively, put me on 10 life turn 2, so definitely pretty aggressive. I decided just to play my Grief, discard their last card, and blink Grief. Unfortunately, they drew into removal, so they were able to attack for 2 more life, but I had they were on 0 cards. I had removal in my hand and put Yorion in hand for next turn. They did find Boros Charm, so they had pretty decent top decks, but so did I. I find Knight of Autumn, gain 4 life, and with Yorion in hand means I will gain 4 more next turn. And which means it's pretty much a game over for them. And that was it. They conceded. That was a game against Burn. As you can see, in all of these matchups, it's definitely impossible to try to win with Devoted Druid deck, Devoted Druid combo. But against I just discarded Crack the Earth. They had the 3 lands in hand. At this point, I I cast my Stoneforge turn 2, but they find Manatite. I didn't see Crack the Ear deck for a long time since the Lurus ban. Um, I decided to kill the Ragavan so I can start attacking with Grief here. Griff was doing a very good clock here. I found second Stoneforge. They didn't have counter for it this time, so I just find my Caldra, attack with the Grief again, and they killed my second Stoneforge. So I just played my Vizier as attacker, attacked again with Grief, and they didn't find the solution for Grief. I just put two blockers on the field and draw card with Bubble. I just killed the Sentinel, and that was it. Game 1 for me. Okay, so game 2 against Crack the Ear deck. I kept the 7 cards, playing second. I had decent Stoneforge hand. Also, Abundant Growth is very good against Crack the Earth. They put two channelers on the field. I killed one, but they had the third one, and I was didn't have any more removals. I had good draws. I tried to uh, find removal for channeler, but couldn't do it. They bought me to face, and they got delirium, which put me in a pretty bad situation here with no removals. I did the grief thing here. I discarded everything they have, but couldn't deal with channelers. Play my Stoneforge. It doesn't matter if I find Kaja because I just didn't find the answer for channelers, and that was it. I did find an answer. I find Sanctifier. I did find Sanctifier, but it wasn't enough. Even with Sanctifier, they still had Delirium, so that was it. Uh, game for them. Game 3. Game 3. I had again a very good Stoneforge hand. Just playing Abundant Growth turn 1 means they can't do Crack the Earth easily. They played Ragavan turn 1, so I didn't want to play Stoneforge, I just played the Decay. Unfortunately, they had a Boom Bust here. So I definitely needed the land here. I did find it. I played Viridian Logbow. I did find the land with my Abundant Growth here. They were also kind of struggling with lands at this point. So I did find again a land and decided to play punishment for one, kill my longbow, killed my Abundant Growth, but it was more important to kill their Ragavan and Channeler. I just kill their token, play my Stoneforge, try to put Caldra on the field, try to start attacking. Also, if they kill both Stoneforges, I have Devoted Druid Luxior to cast the Caldra, which is what I did a decent amount of times. Unfortunately, and they prismatic ending my Luxior. So I just put your into hand, hold, push. Okay, so in this situation, I drew a land, and I decided um, just to cast my Caldra and start attacking immediately with haste, because they were stuck on one land. I mean, they had lands, but they killed all their lands themselves, and they did find a second land, but at this point it was too late. I just attacked with my Caldra, put them on 7 life, cast my Yorion, draw another card, and that was pretty much over for them. Yeah, that was it. My opponent conceded soon after. Uh, we will now watch the first game, the game I lost. I think it was the Grixis. As I said, Grixis feels like a pretty good matchup here, but sometimes Ragavan gets away with the game, like in this situation. I did the Grief Ephemerate thing turn 1, but I didn't have my second land. But I had Solitude, March, and Ending, which are all good cards. Decided to go ditch Solitude immediately to kill Ragavan. Start attacking with um, they had land at this point in hand, so I didn't. Wanted to start attacking with Grief. They did find not. They did not find uh, just a removal, but a removal and a shadow. I decided just to put Union to hand, and they put Gigante to hand, so we were in a pretty even position at this point. I also find my fourth land, and but the problem with this situation is they will draw expressive iteration, and I won't. If I don't disrupt them on time, they will be in an advantage late game. My cards I play are very strong, like Solitude, Grief. These cards all do 2 for 1, and also they're also synergistic with the cards I play. Also Stoneforge. They will bring a good advantage. So I have a decent late game play, but they drew better this game. Unfortunately, I was flooded, which don't happen a lot. The flood in this deck, because I play such a low amount of lands. It was really unfortunate for me to draw this bad into 3 lands, Undying Evil, stuff like that. So just all bad cards I really don't need at this point. They did find iteration and had a lot of cards in hand. Most of their cards not very good against my deck. This is just a huge amount of removal and discard in hand. And they find another iteration which made everything pretty unfavorable for me to win. So I decided they killed my Skyclave, so I just decided to kill their channeler in response. As I said, they had a lot of removal and discard in hand. Uh, I was drawing decent, but after two iterations, they just had two good answers. They had everything they needed to win this game. And just casting Ragavan into my grist, I decided it's time to concede this game. Okay, so game two. Game two had Grief Ephemerate thing again, turn one. I discarded Heat and Channeler from their hand. Sorry. So at this point, they had a Bubble Iteration and Shredder, so not much. I decided to discard their Shredder in their upkeep before they draw a removal, and they did draw it, but that means I discarded all of this, and they played removal on my Grief, which means they kind of lost all their resources. So as you can see, Devoted Druid is pretty decent in these situations because it allows you to play your Yorion much sooner if needed. Um, Eternal Witness was definitely great. A great draw here, just having Ephemerate and Yorion. It's definitely a winning position for me. Okay, so game three, I played second, unfortunately, but I had decent hands. No turn one answer for Ragon, unfortunately. So my opponent played Vulcan Ballista, which killed me in the end. Uh, they only have Drowning Lock, so it's pretty safe to go March on their turn in combat. They had another Ragavan. It's pretty safe to play Endurance in combat here because I only have two cards in my graveyard. Unfortunately, they had Terminate here, so I wasn't able to block the Ragavan, so the damage continued. Okay, so this was their hand at this point. 3 hits and 1 shadow, so they killed my Grief with 1 hit and were left with 2 hits. I decided to play my Sanctifier to make their so they can hit it, but unfortunately they had the Ballista, so they just pumped the Ballista. I wanted to play Undying Evil in response to them pumping the Ballista, but I did it wrong, but they also failed, so it was okay. I played my Orion, Blink my Abundant Growth, put it on my fetch, try to draw something, but unfortunately I didn't find what I needed. They had touches, so I played Endurance, so their graveyard was gone. They couldn't hit the Orion, but I was forced to block the shadow because of touches. I drew another card. and but it wasn't enough, and that was it. That was game over for them. Lost to my Walking Ballista, which killed my Sanctifier, unfortunately, and they were able to continue attacking with Ragavan and later Shadow, which wouldn't be possible, and it would be pretty hard for them to deal with my Sanctifier, especially with Yorion later, and Ephemerate in hand. I think if they didn't find the Ballista with Dragawan, I would definitely win this game. But it is what it is. It could have been easily the trophy game, trophy league, but it's not. It was pretty decent league, interesting. A lot of Death Shadow Murktide matchups, and I think this deck is in all versions pretty good against that deck. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed some of the games, especially those of you who uh, like this deck from the past. And that's it for today.